Hi, in this video we'll be continuing with the C# video tutorials. In this video we'll be going over validating the data in, validating data in multiple text boxes. So just the same thing that I said, validating the data in multiple text boxes. So if an app form has multiple text boxes, then the user has multiple opportunities to enter an invalid piece of data. So a well-designed program should validate the contents of each text box individually. When a piece of invalid data is found, the program should display an error message that tells the user specifically which text box contains the bad data. So this requires a set of nested if, else, else if, or just if and else statements. For example, let's say we have a form that has two text boxes. So if the data in the first text box is good, then you want to nest into the next one if the data in the second text box is good. That's one way to do it. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, because it might just be better off to do them individually. This may just be an example, but that could be one way to do it. Perhaps you'd want to check if, for example, the user is supposed to enter their first and last name on the sign up or login page, whatever. Then you just say, so you check if it was correct after, so you check it. You can check them all individually. You don't have to nest them. Like if the first one is successful, then it goes to the next one. It's up to you if you want to do that. You can just, I've seen kind of both, so it's up to you. So let's do an actual GUI here to kind of practice this. This isn't the lab, this is just a GUI. The lab will do, I guess, in the next video. So let's make a form with two text boxes, one button and two labels. So let's try that. So I've already clicked File, New Solution. I've preloaded it before I started. What's happening with that? Before I started the video, just to save some from you guys waiting for that. Okay, so let's create a form then. So we'll just click the toolbox here, kind of drag that out. This form is too big, so I'll have to just manually resize it. That's fine. So system.windows.forms, I'll click that and to get the designer. So the designer toolbox, I'll click the tab first. Then click that systems.windows.forms. If you want to add more tools, you can click on manage components. Some of them are hidden. Well, actually, a lot of them are hidden. These are just the common ones, I guess. Mine is something I did add. Perhaps I did add one. So that's okay. So let's go with a text box. I'll just double click it or click it once. Put a text box in the middle. We'll change the identifier to first text box. Then we'll change the font size. .36. Kind of manually try to resize that. Something like that. That'd probably be too much, but that's fine. We'll just copy that, paste that here below. We'll change the identifier of the second one, so I'll click it to get the bounding box up, then I'll click this identifier property. I'll change it to second text box. Or you could have just text box 1, text box 2, whatever you want. I'll just go with second text box. Then I'll click it again and make sure that it's selected. I probably didn't have to do that. Then I'll just click this ellipsis there on the text property. Change it to 36. Actually, it already is 36. Okay. To get the two, actually, let's do the controls that we need identifiers for. What is that? Is that a button? Okay. It's not very big. That's fine. We'll change the identifier to add button. So this one will change auto size to true. Okay, so it's 8 down from the top. I just do that because the text is so small. So I just kind of remember now how far it is down from the top, which is 8 rows down. Starting at name. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that there? No. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. I lied. Something changed. Perhaps button has more. Okay. For a button, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 down. Okay, maybe for labels it's 8 down. So then we'll go with font size. .36. We'll just change the text property to add. Then we'll do 2 labels. Don't need identifiers for them. Let's put one up there. We'll change the auto size, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it's 8 down for labels. If you just want to remember that, if it's too small for you too, you don't feel like leaning in. So this is. Then we'll change the font size here to 36. Let's say 36. Whoops. Clicked the wrong button. This one will say, we'll change the text property of this to enter 2 numbers. This one will paste here. Integers only, or ints only. That's fine. So that should be all. So we'll go to the code now for the event handler. We just have actually, maybe we have more than one. Yeah, we don't need to generate anything for the text boxes, so just double click the add button. So then we will pretty much just comment that out. So we'll have some variables here. In first, second, and sum. So if int dot try parse first text box, so if int dot try parse first text box dot text, comma out first, because we're passing basically we want the first text dot text to, the string that's being converted to the int to be stored in the out in the first variable, which is we have to tag on out to that. So if it's successful once again, then we will say sum points to first plus second. What's this there? Is that a warning? That's what I thought. That doesn't make sense. Hopefully there's no error in this code from the actual docs. Okay, so int first, second, sum. If int dot try parse first text box dot text out first. Oh, whoops, I messed that up. Okay. There should be another if here. So if int dot try parse. So if int dot try parse second text box dot text comma out second. Sum points to first plus second. Message box dot show sum dot toString. Else. What happened there? Message box dot show the second text box contains invalid input. So for the outer else, then we'll say message box.show first text box. This one should have a S here. The first text box contains invalid data. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So what's happening here? So if in .tryparse first text box.text, so this is basically unable to. So this doesn't work if it's returns false in this case. If this method call int.tryparse tries to convert the first text box.text, which is a string, to an int, and that doesn't work because it returns false, then the else block will get hit. The first text box contains invalid data. Same thing for the second text box. So if this one's actually true and it works, it'll proceed into the block of code, which is another if, which checks if the int.tryparse, which checks if the second text box.text string returns an int successfully, and it's able to convert that data from the string and convert it to an int. Then if that's true, then it'll proceed into this block. Otherwise, which we'll hear, if you're here, then sum points to the first plus second, which is the text box strings got stored into these variables as an int. Then the message box dot shows the sum back into a string. These strings are converted to an int, which is they get performed into a calculation. Then that int is then converted back to a string. If this is false, so if this does not work so if this method does not convert the data successfully and the method returns false, then this else block is hit, which means that it was unsuccessful. That's it. That's pretty much the whole thing. So in the next one we'll do a lab. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys liked the tutorial, you can like and subscribe to the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.